Hello everybody and welcome to Ndudu by Fafa. Today I am actually baking ginger and tamarind. Yes, you heard me right. And bacon in the same sentence. It will be a ginger and tamarind bread loaf. Now to that I've actually got about 10 individual sweet tamarind that you can actually get from the supermarket. All I've done is I've peeled it and just added some hot water to it. Once it actually came to very cool temperature, I just mashed it with my hands into this lovely paste. Now I will actually strain it before using it. And today I'll be using some nutmeg as well and a black treacle. Got some honeycomb that I actually found in the farmer's. I found in the farmer's market there. That was yesterday actually. Quite lucky to do that. Actually, I'll be using that. That'll be yummy. And I've got my own special mix of cloves, pimento, cinnamon that I always use for my bacons. It's quite nice. And I've got some dry ginger and the fresh ginger as well, because I definitely need that gingery taste to it, and I want that natural flavors as well. So this is some muscovado sugar that I've added a little bit of water, just so it can melt. And I love, look at that beautiful shiny dark color and silkiness of it. That's just stunning. Now, as I said, I'm actually making a loaf. So I've got my yeast, which I've already mixed actually. So it's about 10 grams of dry yeast with some water, warm water that is, a little bit of about half a teaspoon of sugar, and I've just mixed it and I'm going to leave it till it froths. That should take about 10 to 15 minutes. Now for the flour, I've actually chosen to use the malt flour. Now the reason why I wanted that is because it's nutty and it's got that graininess in it, and I like that, and especially when with the bread and stuff, I want it to actually have that nuttiness and texture. And also I've actually got, so that's 300 grams of the malt flour, and then it's about 100 grams of the strong white flour as well. And I'm going to mix that together, and I will add some bicarbonate soda just to give it that fluffiness as well later. So what I do have here is 100 grams of melted butter, and to that I'm actually going to add my ginger mix, which is about 350 grams of fresh ginger. I know you might be like, oh my god, this is crazy, like it's gonna be really spicy, but that's the whole point. I want the natural flavor, I want the ginger to come through. The thing is, because I'm cooking it down, even though your hand says it's not spicy as you would think, so I'm just going to cook this slowly. Now the reason as well why I'm actually cooking this down is to intensify the flavor and to actually give it a nice thick sauce, which would be perfect for mixing with the bread mix, you see, because as I said, I'm actually making a loaf and not a cake, so that's slightly different now. So here we go. Wait for that to actually cook, or not boil. I don't want it to boil, I just want it to cook on a gentle heat, so it's just going to bubble away perfectly. So now that the ginger is actually bubbling away beautifully, I'm actually just going to add about half a tablespoon of Himalayan pink salt. I mean, you can use any salt that you like, but I do like the Himalayan because I think it actually adds some lovely taste to it, and it just gives that little extra size and taste that everybody would go like, what's that? And now I'm just going to add about 100 ml of extra virgin oil to the mix. This is actually going to make the bread moist, and it's nice to have that little earthy taste as well from the olives. So now that I've done that, I don't want it to cook too much. So now I'm just going to add my muscovado sugar, and you can see that beautiful silk. I love this, that's just stunning. And that was about 200 grams, and I just added a bit of water so they could just melt. And that's just, look at that, look how the color is just changing into this rich darkness. I like this. It's almost like a work of art. And that's what I love about cooking. It's about just turning mundane things into work of art, and adding flavors and textures, and that's in Dubai for all over. I'm loving this. Look at that. And as I said, it's all on a low heat anyway. And once I finish with this anyway, I'm gonna leave it till it cools before I actually use it for the bread. So you can imagine this flavor. Oh, adiefe. So here I have my a tablespoonful of the dried ginger and a tablespoonful of my spice mix, which was made of pimento, cloves, and some cinnamon. And I've already added the bicarbonate of soda, and I'm just actually gonna, incorporate this into the flour. Sieving it just nicely and gently, and that's just beautiful. Look at that. Yeah, I wish you could be in this kitchen right now because the smell is just amazing. So I've also just grated some nutmeg into the mix, and I'm just gonna stir it all together. You can just see this is just gonna be full. It's gonna be like flavorful and flavorsome. It's gonna be yummy. Can't wait for this. Oh, look at that beauty. Look at that. That's just stunning. That's just intensifying. And this is on a low heat even. So you see, this is what I mean by the fact that once your pan is hot, you can't have it on a high heat, because on a low heat what it does is, I personally just think that it allows all the flavors to infuse naturally and beautifully, and it's not forced. You have that almost like caramel sort of taste or marmalade look to it, and it's nice and shiny and glossy, and that's just like yummy. So here we have the tamarind sauce that I've added to it. That's just amazing. You see, this is not any bread. This is definitely an individual bread. Just mix it. And it's almost to that paste level that I want it to be anyway. So that I'm just going to cook for another minute. The whole thing I've actually cooked just gently for about 5 minutes anyway. But once I actually have this sort of consistency, which is almost like a double cream, but a little bit thicker than a double cream consistency, and it's done. And I don't overcook anything anyway, so I'm going to take it off the heat. And it will still be bubbling nicely and gently away. That's just beautiful. Yeah. Oh look, there's some back. Let's scrape that. Every little helps. I'm just gonna add a tablespoonful of my treacle. This adds to it. That's just beautiful. Let's see. There we go. I just love that. Look, this goes nicely. So I'm just adding some treacle to the sauce. Okay, here we go. That's it. Just mixed. Oh, look at that. It just goes, you see how dark it goes. This is just going to be an amazing one. I think I'm going to add some nuts to this mixture. I'll find something to do with this, because that's what I like doing. I like to create things as I go along. So I'm actually winging it. Let me see. Right, so here it is. It's just cooling perfectly now. So this is the ginger, the muscovado, sugar. It's got olive oil, it's got butter, and some treacle that I've actually just cooked down into a nice, lovely double cream consistency. And that's be ready for my bread, my ginger and tamarind bread. Of course, yes, and I did add some tamarind as well. So what I do have here is my frothy yeast, and I'm just going to add it to the bread mix. I'm just going to whisk this together. So I'm just going to add the mix of treacle, ginger, the muscovado sugar. Oh, that's just going to be amazing. With the tamarind in there. Oh, that's just like yums. going to add it. It's nice and cool now. It's just perfect. There we go. So I've just whisked everything together for about 8 minutes in the bread mixer, and I've just put it up onto a well-floured surface, and I'm actually going to knead it. Now this is going to, you'll notice that it's quite a soft dough. Don't worry about it because it gets better, and I'm just going to knead it and leave it to proof. So what I'm just doing here now is just rolling the dough, and I'm just going to shape it so I can actually put it in the tin. Now, if you don't have any of the papers to put in the tin, you can actually grease your tin. That's a bread tin. But I've actually just got this baking sheet that I'm using, which makes it easier. So all I'm doing now is just glazing the bread with the tamarind and ginger mix. So this is actually going to form a glaze once it's actually cooked, and it's going to be nice and warm and yummy. I'm just going to leave this to proof for about an hour and a half, and it will just double in size. Once it's just doubled in size, you know it's ready. And then you need to preheat your oven at least about 30 minutes before it's ready for it to go into the oven, to about 200 degrees Celsius, and that'd be great. Yummy. So here's the bread that I'm actually just sprinkling with some almond flakes, and it's going to go into the oven, 200 degrees that I've preheated the oven for, and I'm going to add some water to the oven. That would actually steam it through and allow the bread to cook within, also make it moist and form a perfect crust, and it would also give it time for the flaked almonds not to burn and just cook perfectly as well. So here we have the ginger and tamarind loaf that's actually baked in the oven for about 25 minutes. And what I've just done to test that it's cooked, I tap it at the bottom, and as far as it gave that hollow sound, it meant that it was ready. Now look at that beautiful grained. Look at that. You see that? I used the mold flour, and you could see, and it's moist and it's lovely. And you've got the crust, and also I've smeared it with a bit of the tamarind and ginger sauce at the top as well. So it's just perfect. And what I'm going to do is actually just add some of this honeycomb that I got in the market yesterday. I got from the market yesterday, sorry. I'm going to smear it over now. And that's my Sunday brunch or afternoon tea, may I say, my own words. That's ready. Thank you very much for joining in Dudu by Fafa. I love creating food and I love creating cooking. And thanks for actually watching and subscribing. If you haven't yet, please do. Thank you very much.